I'm Sammy, and I'm going to be talking about O Pioneers by Willa Cather. This book was written by a Nebraska author in the early 1900s and takes place on the prairie in the early 1800s. The story follows a young boy as his parents pass away, and he moves to Nebraska to live with his grandparents. And he meets an interesting group of people because during this time period there was just a wide variety of people living in the area. And the other big character in the book, is named Antonia, and she is Bohemian, and the entire book follows these two characters and the relationship and lack of relationship between them. And it uses these two characters sort of as a metaphor of the different types of people you would find in the early West, and there's not a ton of, stuff that goes on in the book. You can almost picture it as more of a book where stuff happens and you find meaning in it rather than, oh no, somebody just got shot in the face. So you have to, if you're going to enjoy this book, you're going to have to enjoy looking for deeper meaning and just sort of a slower pace rather than bam, bam, bam. And one of the things I really enjoyed about this book was the way the author makes the land seem like a character in and of itself. I do not think of Nebraska as a beautiful place, but she made it seem so. So I'm going to be reading a quote that kind of showcases the way she treats Nebraska. Early the next morning, I ran out of doors to look about me. I had been told that ours was the only wooden house west of Black Hawk, until you came to the Norwegian settlement where there were several. Our neighbors lived in sod houses and dugouts, comfortable but not very roomy. Our white frame house with a story and a half-story above the basement stood at the east end of what I might call the farmyard, with the windmill close by the kitchen door. The slope was trampled hard and bare and washed out in winding gullies by the rain. Beyond the corn cribs, at the bottom of the shallow draw, there was a muddy little pond, with rusty willow bushes growing about it. The road from the post office came directly by our door, crossed the farmyard, and curved around this little pond, beyond which it began to climb the gentle swell of unbroken prairie to the west. There, along the western skyline, it skirted a great cornfield, much larger than any field I had ever seen. This cornfield and the sorghum patch behind the barn were the only broken lands in sight. Everywhere, as far as the eye could reach, there was nothing but rough, shaggy, red grass, most of it as tall as I. So this seems just like boring description of land, and it sort of is, but as the book goes on, you begin to appreciate these descriptions, and you begin to see the land as a character in and of itself, and descriptions of the land start to parallel the descriptions of the characters, and you just see a lot of goofy little connections. I would recommend this book to a reader who enjoys historical fiction and is interested in Nebraska-specific fiction. I would also recommend this to a reader who doesn't necessarily want to read books with bam, bam, bam plots. Somebody who's more willing to find deeper meaning in things, and, well, that's about it. Jolly ho.